All right, we are going to talk about in this second part, this won't be as long as the first one was. We're going to talk about the practical techniques for bringing others to Christ, sponsoring married couples, candidate preparation, sponsors and study of the environment, total security, group reunion, and Ultraea. And then a quick summary, just questions, okay? We will have a question and answer. We were going to have discussion, but I think we'll just question and answer anything that I need to clarify about anything I said. So save those questions and we can do that at the end, because I know we're running a little over. So I'm gonna try to get you out of here, okay? But we want your questions, okay? So. Practical techniques for bringing others to Christ. Know your friend. How can you help your friend if you don't know them? Only by knowing your friends will you know how they think. I have to make sure I have my little head up there. The mind, what they want, what they desire, their heart, okay? And how they act or live. That would be the will. Place your friends. Consider the following when placing your friends in truth. Help your friends recognize their talents so they can place them in the service of Christ. Knowing and encountering yourself. That's a weekend. We remember that. Help them look towards Christ in every circumstance, to know what Christ wants of them. We just talked about that in group, right? Christ is part of our every moment and every day for us. Help your friend live life with enthusiasm and to live in grace so they can attract others to Christ. Enlighten your friends. Your goal here is to encourage your friends to align their will with the will of God. Accompany your friend. This means accompany your friend in the pre-Cursillo, 3-day Cursillo, and post-Cursillo, their 4th day experience, especially after introducing your friend to Christ. Once the sponsors get to know their friends, they will begin to understand how their friends think, what their friends want, and how their friends act, which, by the way, corresponds to the person's internal tripod. The mind, study, the heart, piety, and the will, action. Sorry. Oh, okay. To sponsor married couples, if both husband and wife are eligible and both agree to attend a 3-day Cursillo, then the sponsor should prepare both. And the question of who goes first is not important. There are some couple times when you may have an experience where you have one of the couple has attended the 3-day weekend and the spouse may want to attend the weekend. It may not be the weekend in the year you made yours. It can be later. So just remember, it doesn't have to be the same year, at the same time, okay? And it doesn't matter who goes first. And that's all really about married couples. Candidate preparation. The sponsor, whether it is a group reunion or individual cursista, is responsible for providing their friends with the necessary information about the 3-day Cursillo. Share activities starting with Thursday evening, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Tell your friend as much as about the weekend that you can. Tell them about the Royals, prayer, sharing in groups, posters, daily mass, singing, games, meals, There is no way you can spoil the 3-day weekend for your friend because they need to experience the Holy Spirit themselves. The sponsors should show their friends how to be Christian by the way they live their lives. And the sponsor should tell their friends about the post-Crucio and the 4th day. This will help them persevere in the conversion process. The sponsors should be active members of a friendship group reunion and the Ultreya. In some cases, it may be practical to take the candidate to an Ultreya if it is in an authentic one. And actually, we did that in Lewistown. We had someone who had not made the weekend and they came to the Ultreya, and I think it was beneficial, okay? Sponsors should realize that friendship will involve spending time focusing on personal contact, authentic witness, and real palanca. We should start now, or have been starting for the palanca for our next weekends. It is necessary to prepare our friends with a view towards post-Crucio. There is no better preparation and attraction for our friends than a personal and authentic witness of our 4th day. What is personal contact, authentic witness, and real palanca? I'm going to show you. Indispensable personal contact. For this reason, side by side with the collective proclamation of the gospel, the other form of transmission, the person-to-person one, remains valid and important. The Lord often uses it. For example, Nicodemus, Zacchaeus, the Samaritan woman, Simon, the Pharisees, and so did the apostles. In the long run, is there any other way of handing on the gospel than by transmitting to other person one's personal experience of faith? Are we looking at the slides, the pictures? Some of you are in there. The personal dialogue between sponsor and candidate is the result of friendship. The sponsors must practice making a friend, being a friend, and bringing their friend to Christ. The phrase clearly states, bring your friend to Christ, not to Curcio. The sponsor should respect the candidate's dignity and see them as the image and likeness of God and not as a number for the next 3-day Curcio. Authentic witness. It is often said nowadays that the present century thirsts for authenticity, especially regarding young people. It is said they have a horror of the artificial or false, and that they are searching above all for truth and honesty. These signs of the times should find us vigilant, either unspoken or expressed aloud, but always forcefully. We are being asked, do you believe what you are proclaiming? Do you live what you believe? Do you preach what you live? The witness of life has become more than ever an essential condition for real effectiveness in preaching. Precisely because of this, we are to a certain extent responsible for the progress of the gospel that we proclaim. The sponsors can only witness to what they are living, and they should be living what is fundamental to being Christian. The sponsors cannot give what they don't have. How else will they convince the candidate to enter into friendship with Christ? The witness must be sincere and authentic. Through their Christian behavior and witness of the truth, the sponsor's objective is to awaken the candidates in an attitude of openness to inquiry, friendship, and conversion. The opportunity to introduce the 3-day Cursillo to the candidates will come in due time. All this should happen through the bond developed between the sponsor and the candidate, and eventually with Christ. Palanca. The sponsors need to understand the importance of speaking to God about their prospective candidate before speaking to the candidate about Christ. Prayer is essential before, during, and after the 3-day Cursillo. The sponsors should pray and offer Palanca for the candidates and the 3-day Cursillo. Simply stated, real Palanca refers to our prayers, sacrifices, and our works of mercy for the upcoming weekends. The study of environment, let's talk about that. That it is the study of the person. This study helps the sponsors determine how their friends think, what their friends want, and how their friends act, which corresponds to their friends' mind, heart, and will. The environment is the person God is placing within your movable square meter where you are at this exact moment. Sponsors do not have to go far to evangelize. They can do from where they are. Besides our family, neighborhood, and workplace, God places us in different places at different times. We may find ourselves at the grocery store, doctor's office, a football game, the mall. These are also opportunities to begin the process of making a friend, being a friend, and bringing that friend to Christ. We can't always fish in the fishbowl, the parish. Those fish are already caught. Jesus asked that we cast our nets into the deep ocean of the world. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into deep water and let down the nets for a catch." Then Jesus said to Simon, "Don't be afraid from now on. You will fish for men." Okay? Total security, group reunion, and Ultraea. Many people leave Cursillo with enthusiasm after having had the opportunity to encounter self, Christ, and others. That is sufficient only for the first step. The new Cursiesta should be motivated to take the second step, to freely use the method of perseverance by seeking a group of friends and making a commitment to share the Christian way of life, thus fortifying the 3 encounters initiated in their Cursillo. The sponsor should ensure that the new Cursiesta finds group reunion. It may be the sponsor's group or a different group entirely. The new Cursiesta has the freedom to choose with whom he wants to form a group. The Ultraea is always an excellent place to find group members, so sponsors, take your friends to the Ultraea. And I knew someone who did have different groups that she participated in order to make sure that her new friends were in a group. So, you know, that's a possibility. Sponsors should read the sponsor's booklet. Okay. And candidates should read the Cursillo, what is it, booklet. Make sure your candidates have transportation to the 3-day Cursillo. Tell them what they need to take and determine if your candidate needs assistance at home with watching pets, taking kids to baseball practice, whatever, okay? You can tell your candidate they will not have time to use their phones or laptops during the 3-day Cursillo. They will need to focus on the message, group sharing, and making friends. Remember, the team will have a way to communicate with the outside world if needed. And that's what the message that we usually tell our candidates. Okay, I think that is the last of the slides. Yep. So this is the end. I have a summary. I'm going to just run down quickly just to give you a recap of today kind of thing. In summary, Cursiistas serving as sponsors should have a basic understanding of the purpose and method of Cursillo, of the purpose and responsibility of sponsoring, of the process for candidate selection and preparation, of the practical technique for bringing others to Christ, of what it means to study the environment, read and apply the information contained in a sponsor's booklet, focus on knowing, placing, enlightening, and accompanying their friends, their candidates, during the 3 phases, pre-Cursillo, the 3-day Cursillo, and post-Cursillo. Focus on personal contact and authentic witness of life and real palanca with their friends. Provide a candidate with a copy of the booklet, the Cursillo movement, what is it? Have a good understanding of and be actively participating in the method of perseverance, group reunion, and ultreya. Provide the secretariat, pre-Cursillo section, and team the relevant facts about the candidate's personality and disposition. The Cursillo movement uses the unique method of friendship to help people discover that God loves them and brings them into a relationship with self, Christ, and others in 3 days. Inviting a person to the 3-day Cursillo should not depend on our desire, but on the will and the freedom of the person. Sponsoring should be considered an opportunity, not an obligation. Christ is counting on you. End. All right. Any questions? Yes, sir.
It's not a question. First, thank you for taking the time, how informative it was. And most importantly, how you shared your heart.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
God was in it. Holy Spirit was here. We're going to give, well, there we go. We're giving all the praise to the Holy Spirit, okay?
We have a responsibility.
Yeah, in that, there's some in there. I have a few sponsor booklets. Kathy, you gave me what, sponsor or?
Is it okay to hand that?
Yeah. Okay. I think I kept 10 or so at home, but you have yeah, yes, absolutely. And if we need more, I'm sure we'll get more. That's all that I had in my possession. Okay. That is a new, it's just a cover. You can go ahead.
I just had some spiritual advisor, I want to thank you very much for the talk as well. And it just reminded me how much I've involved in my understanding, even as spiritual advisor over the years, of correct Cursillo methodology. And this is really key, and I've said it again and again. I used to be the priest at the pulpit who would say, applications are in the vestibule. Go pick up an application to the congregation. Go pick up an application. Make up your sale weekend. And I was violating so many of these. Make your sale weekend. It's the most fabulous thing in the world. Pick up an application in the vestibule. Get it to me. We'll find you a sponsor later. No. And I really did also see. I have it on there. See Cursillo as an engine for encouraging the move. Now that sounds good, but it really isn't.
Yeah.
Except indirect, sure. I mean, you know, if you have a lot of Cursillos, make a portion make Cursillo weekend, it does affect the character very positively. No doubt about it, since we're supposed to leave the weekend and change the environment, which includes the parish. Nevertheless, I haven't changed my consciousness on that. It's really, I've been told, Father, you don't put people on a Brazil weekend in order to get 40 minutes of Holy Communion, in order to get lectures, in order to get parish council members. And it's true, it's for the crucifixion and self, for self. These are for renewal and then in turn going out and changing the environment. So those are just a couple of my thoughts, and I'm still evolving on this, and it is friendship, getting to know the candidate and making friends, bringing a friend to Christ. Amen.
Okay.
2 points I wanted to make. And so Tina, when she was going over about the marriage couple, which that's important that, because it's kind of the first pass, not a requirement. But there is a requirement, I do believe, to make sure that whoever the other spouse is, especially if there's something that is not interested in at this point, it is not a problem in their marriage. Because their vocation as a married person is above the Curcio. If that other spouse is, if it's causing a problem, something they really don't want the person to know, then that person, you should know, the sponsor should not go. It's not his time. Sometimes they can change. And I believe there was someone, but
Louder.
Oh, louder? Okay. It was that they said, someone asked me in here, no way, you do too much, the church already got up. And 10 years later, someone mentioned it, and she said, yeah, someone asked me again, yeah, I think you should go. Okay, so everybody has to be ready, not only the candidate, but if they're married, it cannot be a competitive to their marriage. The other thing I was gonna say, and I thought that was one of the two, bringing people to Christ, not necessarily to Curcio, because Curcio is only one way that a person could come to know God better. Anyway, great, but it's not for everyone. And those who are meant to come, but we shouldn't always be disappointed if it doesn't turn out for someone, because God has something else planned. Yeah. So take that all into consideration when you're doing it. That's all I was saying. Thank you, Tina.
I want to point out too, as chair of communications, the database falls under me, which Rose handles. So the reasoning to the applications, and they might seem a lot longer, and even I'm throwing the team one in there and has a lot of information, and you're wondering, the database had at one time been set up that you record the weekends and royals and what positions and all that fun stuff and why. Then there is apparently years that we can't find that they're not there. So we're trying, so if you're wondering why we're asking all these questions, we just try to find where we can get as much information back as
Fill the
possible.
holes in.
And hopefully fill in blanks that, that we're missing. So sorry that's long and crazy, but that's kind of why we're doing it.
Well, and like I found out, just because we want to keep the database updated. And my husband had the questionnaire one, like what on the weekend when you do that, and they have the questionnaire on your activities and how you are serving Christ already. Could we fill that out like Friday-ish? And I found his, but I don't know what year he made, so I'm like, I need to go to the database to get that information. So we use it for a lot of different things, so that's kind of what we do. It's good for you and for us. I just keep everything updated, so. Any other questions? I guess I should. Yes,
So we're putting out the fee. Most of us may, I should say, most, some of us may have been confused, some of us might have been very active in our parishes when we were being perceived. What is the intention of this model then? It's not to exclude the person who's in the parish and active, but is it that we have a preference for those who are far away? Is what I'm hearing. So I'd like anybody who's delved into this a little bit more than I have to maybe speak to that. Is there a dichotomy or is there just a clear direction? Repeat that one more time. So, to go to those who are far away, make friends with those who are far away, bring them to Christ, invite them to Cursillo. What about those who are not far away, or in our groups already, who are the electors, extraordinary ministers, but we think it would be great for them to be involved with Cursillo. Maybe they go to an alternative with us, maybe they group with us, and they want to make Cursillo. Is that
I-
the vision?
I think that would be more like taking your friendship and you are preparing them. In your friendships, you are preparing them possibly to go to a Cursillo weekend. And you will determine as you make that friend, whether that friend is, and if he happens to be, you know, I've been in ministries of different sorts for 50 years. And I was asked to go. I mean, no, we don't just look for the far away. It's for our friends and if our friends like meet the criteria, you know, and we feel that they're ready for Cursillo, then yes, regardless of their circumstance. We don't just look for the far away. I always ask the question, okay, who's the far away? What are you talking about? Who's the far away? I did. I asked that like for years. I've been asking that. It took me a long time to understand that. Do you want to clarify for me?
Well, I'll give my perspective.
Okay.
I think the far away is attempt to include more. I don't think it's an attempt to include less.
There you go.
really
I like
think
that.
Far away is, maybe you can encounter someone that is, and by far away meaning they're, maybe, far away from Christ, far away from their faith, far away to a point that maybe they have considered Christianity for some time. And certainly that would be whether you're Catholic, you would get folks like that back into a situation where there are close to Christ. I don't think it has anything to do with eliminating those or minimizing those.
Yeah, I agree.
But I do think that when you're sponsoring and someone is extremely involved in it, I think it's good to let them know what's involved in the skill. Because they may not have it. They may not be at a point in their life that they can do it. Forcing some of us that are now tired to do that. But the world requires a lot of time, a lot of responsibility. So I look at it as it's all inclusive.
That's it.
Boy, we can reach out to get somebody. And to the point where you're talking, you do have to counter that.
Exactly.
Here's an application. I've seen one in the church once. You may be interested in this. It has to be a relationship. So that's the way that
And Tika, that was me when I was active in the church. I taught CCD. I was very active in Women of Grace that we had here at Holy Name and led Bible studies. When I made my Cursillo, I went and made it. It brought me more joy, and like you said, it brought me to Christ, or Christ to me. There was that friendship. You know, all of a sudden this whole world, you know, opened up and Jesus is right there and he's my friend. So even if for those that are active and all, you never know if they're looking for something and they have some kind of longing and they're not quite sure how to fill that. So, I mean, that's what I found.
So what I've read, different types, there's the who should go, and who can go, and who should go. And the people that should go are being a lot of those people that we know are disconnected. Whether they're falling away from the church, they're not attending, whether they're in the church, but you know, they're just like people. And they're just don't need emotions, because as Eduardo would say, it's not about doing Christian things, but it's about being Christian. So, you know, you would want to concentrate on those, but then you can go, well, anyone else who's interested, who has those things that you talk about, personality and all that, and who saw in your little something, and somehow want that. And I guess that's the thing about it, you establish a friendship and know what you do. And I tend to talk about that to people and mention, oh yes, and I'm going to my Cursillo, my kids know, don't call me on Thursday at whatever time, that's my group. So they're aware of my Cursillo thing. Is there going to be a point at which somebody says to me, my kids or someone else, who's got this Cursillo thing? You can do all this stuff. see that restlessness, that interest. So, yeah, we look for those, and then I thought about it the other day, just in terms of, like, the wanting to extend it, trade it down to, like, the cemetery is going to be working on that post CO. If you went into a new parish where there weren't any priests, how would you go about it? Would you first look for people that would be leaders, because you would want to have a strong foundation. And then what you would do is establish the CO, then from there they're reaching out to the Broadway and all the groups that make it possible, but don't you have to start from the foundation of leadership? But you're always looking for the people who have those abilities that would possibly see they can step up and be the ones who will attend school leaders, do all this actively and people who involved with each other, so that we are one mentality and moving forward. So that's.
And I will tell you, I was not, you were not, me, when I first made my weekend, there is no way I would be on Secretariat. There is no way I would be standing up here talking to you, you know, because I was not in my, I'm an introvert, you know? I mean, I'm not the kind, I don't have the personality to do this, but look where I'm at, you know? And I'm talking to my peers and, you know, it's like, I have grown in our group this morning and in many groups that I participate in where we share, Christ is in charge. Christ is taking me and changing me and I'm evolving into doing what he wants me to do. We're all there and we're all that way. And that's what we need to listen to and do, you know. But I'm an example. I was the person sat over on whatever quietly, never said a word. I said a lot of words today, right? So we can all do it, if I can do it.
I don't remember exactly how it worked, but we've had very good success on that weekend sponsor. Yeah. And good mention about, well, they can't post
Well, I said that you should ask that someone who was a there felt that they did not actually participate on the after party. That would be somebody, you know, even who works here. That wouldn't be the time to do it, but I think yeah, they attended for a and she is one. She even had one weekend, she is part of it.
But that's,
So I don't think she was talking about this.
that kind of leads to the personality that we had someone that she came, but she didn't want anybody to touch her. I mean, we didn't know these little things and stay, you know, and in some cases, it's great. We know that, you know, the men, we love Harris and we love, but yeah, but it's just trying to be careful because we have run into problems.
I just think it's better that someone makes a procedure. It's all about making someone close. Right. There's no better way to do that. So you don't know what you're going to do close. It's better that they have made the procedure than not.
But I do, yeah.
You have to take it because
And I think that's for the friendship and just knowing them. And talk to them about, that's a good part about talking to them about what's going to happen on the weekend, because if they kind of know what's happening,
Yeah, we
you
don't want them yelling.
alleviate that problem and they would be fine, you know, because that's,
And they even yelled at our priest. It was different, but we tried, to work through it. You try to do the best you can, but some,
Well, I think that, from your perspective, Tina, you presented guidelines. I don't think we can have hard and fast rules. So, and I don't feel that's what you did. So there are guidelines, and, I mean, Dave, you speak from your heart, and I know that. So, it's like, you feel it. I mean, I don't think everybody in this room experienced it. What's the deal? What's going on? So if you listen and try to be present, I'm saying this for myself and just you, that you'll pick it up. And you know what? Whether there's, and I know what you're saying, but it wouldn't matter to me. I'll carry it in if I have to. And the other thing that I wanted to share is that I do, and I don't want to say agree, but I think again, it's guidelines. It's not hard and fast rules. I don't, so for me, those that know me, so I was way out in the middle of the ocean, way out there. Thank God that somebody said, well, we'll try. And I am very busy. And I feel like, again, I want people to be there, have the experience that I had. And then if they can't, because their life dictates that they have 4 children and they're coaches of every team, again, speaking from experience, cannot go to every group, I would still myself sponsor it. I would. So that if they're good people, they get closer to Christ, they're able to come. And it's not, as you guys all know, it's not on our timeline. It's on Christ. He'll tell them. So again, I think that you can't look at it as hard and fast rules, and we all have to make sure that they're guidelines for us to follow.
yeah. I'm sorry that worked out to trick it. Guidelines. Think about those things, big stuff.